Welcome back, Team Cuss. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to play fast on the trombone. Right now, this is just for beginners. You advanced people, you can take some tips from this as well, but if it's too easy for you, don't be like, oh, well, it's too easy, whatever. There will be an advanced video where I go in more depth. But for today, though, let's just talk about a couple things. So number one would just be form. I see a lot of trombone players where, when they play, they're playing like this. For any guys who study math or whatever, make that shit acute. You know what I mean? Like, bring the slide in a little bit more, because it's gonna help with everything, like finding positions and just finding your way around the horn. Like, I feel like the closer it is, it makes it a lot more easier in finding positions and where everything is. Also too, at least in my experiences, it's a little bit more comfortable. I learned this from one of the great trombonists, Buster Cooper. You can look him up. He played with Jazz at Lincoln Center. I had the opportunity of seeing him play live, and I saw his horn in his slide, and he had the joint like super close together. I started doing that in high school, and ever since I started doing that, it's made a big difference, especially when I started trying to play faster in the whole drill. And the other thing too is, like, your band directors may have something to say, but unless they're a trombonist, don't listen to them. Like, if your band director is a sax player or a drummer or a trumpet player or whatever they play, piano, guitar, whatever they play, unless they're a trombone player and they've actually played the trombone before, don't listen to them, because you'll get a lot of people who are going to give you bad advice. You know what I mean? Now this, I would say, like, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, this is just what I do. So with this one, you don't really have to like obey it. If you prefer playing it like this or whatever, however people play it, that's all preference. But I will say that definitely helped me a lot. So number two would be how you grip the slide. If you hold the slide like this, right? And I know this is like super beginner, but some people just hold it like this, and you use all your arm to find the positions, it ain't gonna work. You're not gonna be able to play faster, because as soon as you start to play faster and stuff, it's not gonna be smooth. It's so jagged, the slide is so jagged that it's just not gonna work. My thing is simple, okay? Do whatever feels comfortable to you, because comfort is better than, doing something else crazy. When you're playing fast or whatever, you definitely do want a loose grip. And I think 2 fingers is key. When I got to Berkeley, I was only playing 1 finger. I had 1 finger on the slide, and I just kind of picked this up on my own. And once I got to Berkeley, I studied with Marshall Jokes. Probably one of the cleanest, fastest playing trombonists I've ever encountered in my life. I'll put a picture of him right there, and like, check him out, man. This guy, you want to learn how to play fast? He's got a whole thing about how to play fast as well. So check him out. I studied with the man, and man, he is unbelievable. And he told me right when I got to Berkeley, he was like, dude, you gotta grip the trombone with 2 fingers, because you're gonna have more control. And when you play faster stuff, you're just gonna have more control. But never did he once say, like, use more arm or anything like that. He always just talk about gripping the slide, because a lot of times I'll try to be cool and stuff, and I'll just play, and I like won't grip the slide when I'm playing easy things. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't grip the slide. You should always have the slide gripped with your fingers, but it should always just be wrist and a little bit of arm. I want to add too that when I talk about playing loosely, right? A lot of people take it to the extreme, and they're almost like they like play with like their wrist, and it's like this almost. Like, no. Playing loosely just means don't move your arm. Just move. It should be all forearm and wrist. So I'm gonna try to show you guys, like, it should just be like all forearm and wrist. When you're playing that thing, like, I'm never, unless I'm going out here, do I use my arm. But, it's mostly all forearm and wrist. I just want to make something clear. It ain't about the equipment, okay? It's about you. And I've made this point before, but, like, some of the best trombonists in the world, like if Wycliffe Gordon played on a beginner instrument, he would still make that instrument sound ridiculous. So it's not about what instrument you're playing on. It's literally about, like, the player. And that's why I think it's important to take responsibility for, like, if you can't play faster, accept it, Take responsibility. There's not, like, one thing that you're going to change and automatically you're going to be able to play super fast and super clean. I think, some of the people who can do that, it takes a lot of practice and time, a lot of practice and time. And I wanted to keep this video as more of like a beginner video. I don't want to talk about like tonguing yet. I don't want to talk about articulations. I don't want to talk about, a lot of those things yet. I just want to talk about like the basic fundamentals, the basic things when it comes to form. If you have the right form, then we can take the next steps into other things. For beginners, it's a tough thing because you guys want to play faster, but at the same time, your range isn't there. So if you can't play anything over like a middle F, then you're gonna have a lot of trouble playing high because when we're playing faster, a lot of stuff we're staying in like first, second, third, fourth position, mainly first, second, and third, honestly. And then we're only being really around here. We're not really going out in 7 and 5 and that's the problem, because unless you have a trigger or something, you're out there playing in 7th position all the time and you're trying to play fast, but you only have a limited range, and it's a lot harder to play faster. So that's a big issue. So what I will say is this: you have to learn all the notes on your horn like in your sleep. And we've been over this about major scales, but also too, another great thing to do is chromatic scales. Going up every single note and playing chromatic up. There's only 12 notes. There's only 12 notes. So if you can play chromatic from C to C, you know that there's only, from the C to the other C, there's only 11 notes in between. Okay, so if you can go from C to C, chromatic, then go from D flat to D flat, then go from D to D, then go from E flat to E flat, then E to E, then F to, you know what I mean? And do that all the way up. Like, work those like crazy, man. I'm telling you, those will help you so much. And once you can start to play in the upper register, that's gonna open up your faster playing, because now, you're playing a G in second, and then you're going and you're playing an A flat, and you can play it in first or third. They tell you you're supposed to play it in third, but jazz players, they kind of play in all the positions, all the alternate positions. And that leads me to my next point, which is alternate positions. I think we've been over this before, but E flat major scale, like, people play it like this. But if I want to play that faster, I'd use the alternate position and I'd play the D in 4th position. You know what I mean? It's so much smoother because you're going from that third to the fourth to the third instead of going from third to first to third. First to third to first to third. You know what I mean? It's like, it's two, whereas it's just like, it's just flows better. So all my teachers, every single trombone teacher I've had that's on the next level, they've all talked about alternate positions. Especially my trombone teacher in high school. He was like all about alternate positions, and you know what? It helped me a lot. Like, he really knew what he was talking about, because alternate positions come in handy like you don't even know. Like, if you play a D flat major scale, but if you play it like this, if you play the F in 6th, it's gonna make it quicker. It's gonna make the whole thing. And for those of you who didn't catch on, I'm gonna do it again. So this is the way that most people play D flat major scale. And then this is how you should play it, or you can play it. If you want to play it faster. The reason we play it in 6 is because when you play it in 6, so the notes are D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, right? So when you play that F in 6th position as opposed to in 1st position, what happens is, now when you go and you play that G flat, it's in 5th position. So you're right there. You don't have to move, as opposed to going from 1st to 5th. We basically want to do this in the most efficient way possible. When we're playing faster, we really want to make it super efficient. And I can tell you right now, there's not a trombone player in the world who's playing faster stuff and they're out going from 1st to 6th position and then to 5th and then back to 1st and then to, like, it doesn't happen. No one can play it because it's like, it will never sound clean. The way to play faster is to get all your notes as close together as possible in terms of positions. So alternate positions is like huge, like huge. I'll show you like another one, B flat major scale, up the octave. That's the way most people play it, but this is the way I play it. You know what I mean? And then you can do the same thing with A. Okay, now when you go to A flat, I wouldn't do that. I would keep A flat as your. Now let me ask you something. Can I play that scale just as fast down the octave? No, I can't. You know why? Because A, I don't have a trigger, but B, and I don't want to make that as an excuse. It's just like, but because I don't have a trigger, I can't play like the sixth position note in second, so it's gonna slow me down. You know what I mean? That's why I talk about range. Like if you can play every scale from like F up to like, you know, high D flat, right? And you can play all those scales, like, and you can nail all the notes, it's gonna help with your higher playing so much because now you can play up there and everything's within close proximity. Everything's right around the same area. Whereas if you're playing down the octave, now you gotta go from first to sixth, to, you know what I mean, to fourth, to third, to first, it's like, it just makes it a lot harder. And we're just gonna talk about another thing that can really, really help you guys, and that is using a metronome when you practice. It helps with playing faster. It helps with playing it with better time. You know, you can tell the people who practice with a metronome and the people who don't. Metronome is key to playing faster. So turn on a metronome and run your chromatic scales and just keep going a click a day. You know, mark it down. So I can play at this tempo. And don't cheat yourself either. Like, make sure that you can get clean articulations, and then once you get clean articulations, then move on. But don't move on until you get it right. For real. Otherwise you're cheating yourself and you're gonna end up, you know, moving too quickly, and you're not gonna, yeah, you'll be at like, you know, a tempo of like 300, but you'll be playing, it'll sound like crap, you know. So make sure you're actually, you know, progressively moving forward, and make sure you're like nailing it 100% before you move forward. I don't know how you guys practice, but if you split up your practice time into like 30 minutes for this, 30 minutes for this, and then you go and you jam for the next hour or whatever, hint, hint, that's kind of what I do, then my advice to you would be, you know, use a metronome for the first hour of your practice, no matter what you're playing over, whether it's an etude or whether it's like you're doing all these different exercises and fundamentals and working on scales and articulations. Use a metronome for that first hour of practice. And then when you move on to like jamming over tunes or jamming over, you know, records or whatever you guys play over, that's when you can let the metronome go, and now you can start to use what you've learned in your practice and kind of carry that over into like real world stuff. But I am teaching private lessons right now, and I do have a couple of students. I'm looking for more, so if anyone's interested, you know, send me a DM or find a way, you know, reach out to me or whatever. I'm very responsive through DM or however you guys need to get in touch with me. Thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications every Tuesday and every Friday. Team Cuss, baby. You know what time it is.